Oh, and welcome to Raising Those Spirits. I'm Steve.
I'm Sam.
And tonight, for the second time, we have special guests.
Who are they?
I don't know what you want me to say. Just my name?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Steve's wife, Petra.
And I'm Sam's wife, Cait.
It's a double date episode, which we are recording a week before Valentine's Day and will release like a week after Valentine's Day.
So
it almost makes sense.
This is their second time on the podcast, but there's like a weird connection I don't know if you picked up on.
Between this and Monster Squad?
Yes.
What is it? No, I didn't.
The character Rhonda, the most popular girl in school, is Patrick's hot older sister in the Monster Squad.
No.
Yeah.
How did I never pick that up?
I was looking at her and I was like, who are you? And I went to IMDb and I was like, oh my god.
These are two of Cait's favorite movies.
I have seen Teen Witch many times since I was younger, and I'm usually pretty good with faces.
Lisa Fuller is the actress's name.
But I've never put the two together. Wow.
Yeah, and she ended up actually marrying the actor who played Brad.
You're kidding.
No, they're ended up together. Married. They're still married.
It's a Valentine's Day miracle.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Brad aged very well.
Oh my god, I'm looking at his picture on IMDb right now, and he is handsome.
He has like a David Arquette thing going on.
He does look very like David Arquette.
My problem with this movie was that everyone looked like just to the left of a more famous person. So I was like, who do I know? How do I know you? And I knew no one, but everyone looked just enough like somebody else.
Yeah. So
yeah. So we watched Teen Witch. I don't think we've even said that. We've done no introductions other than actual introduction.
Okay, yeah, we watched Teen Witch, which I'm really glad we watched because it turns out I saw this movie a ton as a kid and didn't remember, but it's one of those movies that lived like rent-free in my mind, but I had no idea what it was. So
wow. Okay, so what or will we get to it? I guess we'll get to it, like what scenes.
What was it? Was this HBO?
Did you have HBO?
We did not have HBO. I don't know how I saw this so many times on television.
Did one of your
that's
older
something that
cousins
I've been trying to remember as well.
What was that?
I said that's something that I've been trying to remember as well because I did watch this movie a lot when I was younger, and I know it wasn't on a VHS tape.
Yes.
You know, I was born in the early 80s. I grew up with VHS, DVDs, and I feel like it was something that was movie of the month on one of the cable channels, whether HBO, Showtime, one of those cable channels back in the day. It was a premium channel, and every month there was a movie that they would play very often. So I feel like it was something along those lines where it was on enough that I was able to binge it before the age of digital television.
I remember channel surfing when there was only like 30 channels and running across it not infrequently. And that's why, like, I remember...
Did you stop and watch it when it was on, or...?
I was young. Like, again, I just had, like, 2 or 3 scenes burned in. I didn't fully even know they were in the same movie.
You've been telling me that it was, like, in a different movie, too. Like, you literally thought that one of the scenes
I said
was in
it might have been Love Potion number 9, but I wasn't positive. Because that was also bigger.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of similarities to Love Potion number 9.
It does feel like there is more than one movie going on because you have until the end, you have your separate scenes with Madame Serena and Louise, and then you have Louise's separate life at school and at home, and they're drastically different for good reason.
Oh yeah, the psychic lady, Zelda Rubinstein. What was her name again?
Madame Serena?
Madame Serena.
Madame Serena. Yeah, she doesn't like show up at the school at all until the end. So really, almost all of her scenes are only with Robin Lively.
Yeah, it's the only person she interacts with like the whole movie. I hadn't realized that.
But so overall impressions. I mean, like, I don't know, I've never seen this movie before. Petra, had you seen this before?
I have never in my life seen this movie. I did not have television, really. So,
were you aware of this movie before being asked to watch it?
I had never heard of it in my life.
Okay.
So, Petra, what's your impression? So, seeing this for the first time as an adult, having nothing to go on, what were your impressions of this movie? How did you feel about it?
I feel really bad because I was not a fan of this movie. It didn't really have like what you would consider any kind of narrative thread. Louise,
No, there really wasn't.
There was no plot structure.
There was no plot structure. Louise was a terrible person. She's just a bad person.
We kept getting closer and closer to the end of the movie. Like, we could see the timer at the bottom, and we were like, how are they going to wrap this up? What are they going to wrap up?
I still don't know what they did.
Sam was surprised. He said, wait, is that it? That was the end?
I was kind of like looking down at my phone, and then I looked up and the credits were rolling. I was like, wait, but it's like nothing has happened in this movie.
Yeah, they were going to the dance, and I was like, there's 5 minutes left in this movie. What is that? How can that be?
And like, the movie made me feel bad for Randa, which I did not see coming at the beginning. She ended up with a Schwinn bike and no boyfriend. And her boyfriend was making out with Louise in abandoned homes. She had the worst high school experience.
Yeah.
So let's back up to the beginning.
We haven't talked about the movie.
Yeah, let's back up to the beginning to where we even got to that part. Because I feel like it's I mean, we start out with your classic 80s movie tropes.
It's like a music video. It felt like a series of music videos.
We have
so
notes.
Here's what I would say about. What I would say about this movie is it was a series of music videos that really felt more like Mentos commercials.
That is a perfect description.
Right?
Yeah.
It never felt like it was an actual music video. It felt like a commercial that was trying to play on a music video constantly.
If the Doublemint twins had biked through, I would not have been shocked.
They easily could have at any given point. You could have seen the Doublemint twins in this movie. We open with, I want to talk about that opening dream sequence where she's in this dress, and so the beginning of the movie, it's her in this sultry red dress on a rooftop dancing with Brad, our main love interest, having it's like a music video, but you know what it felt like? It actually felt like have you ever done karaoke at
Yes.
One of those places where you go to a karaoke room? That's what it felt like. It felt like a karaoke video that was playing in the beginning of this movie with the credits underneath it. That's what that felt like.
Yeah, my notes are that lion, because it starts off with the old lion's roar that I haven't seen in a movie in forever.
The MGM.
But yeah, then there's that saxophone, that because you immediately come into 80s saxophone.
That actually was pretty interesting.
And we get a good saxophone guy in this movie at a concert, just an out of nowhere concert sequence.
Yeah.
They sneak into a concert.
And then the intro song goes so hard. I have Holy Neon Batman is written down. There's so much just heavy neon lighting. It is so amazingly 80s just in the opening number.
I loved it. It was bad, but I really loved how 80s-y it was.
I had to also, as a fan of this movie, I also had to point out to Sam that in this scene, she is in fact 15.
I refused to believe that. Steve actually looked it up because I was like, she looks like a full-grown adult.
And I was like, she is 15 years old.
And then he was like, Brad is 26. And I was like, that's not cool.
No, it was really uncomfortable. He looked much older than her.
Yes.
This movie it fell very much into the problem of a lot of 80s movies where our nerdy, sort of unattractive girl is clearly very attractive.
They didn't even put her in glasses in this one. They didn't even bother. Robin Lively is gorgeous. And they were like, look. Yeah.
She was super cute in her nerdy outfits.
There were a couple of times when she was using her magic. We haven't even talked about the fact that her being a witch. She's a witch. And she used magic to make herself pretty. But there were plenty of times when she just looked better in her, like, whatever outfit she had picked out.
Yes.
Yes. Like, frequently.
Can we pause really quickly and talk about everyone else's outfits in this movie?
Sure.
There is
amazing, especially the younger brothers.
There's just an extra at the high school who's in, like, every single scene who looks like Rick Astley. You know exactly who I'm talking about, too.
You know who I mean. I loved Rap Trio guys.
Oh my god. No. So much rapping in this movie. I actually was reading, this movie was one of the first movies to transition teens from being into rock and roll to being into rap.
It's like the three whitest guys.
Rap sequence will forever live with me. It is something that I have quoted to people and get looks because it's from people that have never seen the movie, have zero idea what the scene is. But in my opinion, it is one of the best scenes of the entire movie.
That wasn't even in the original script, you probably know. That was done in reshoots. They watched this final film and were like, you know what this needs? A rap battle.
They did great. I'm glad that they added it. I loved that scene. Their outfits were amazing. They could have made it on 8 Mile.
One of the three guys didn't even know how to dance. He just kind of bobs and awkwardly moves his arms. The guy who was always on the left in the back.
But they were so earnest about it.
Oh, no, they gave it they did not phone this in. I was just like, you couldn't hire like 3 real dancers?
No.
So there's so many music video moments in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
The rap was one of my favorite music videos. But it was not my favorite music video in this movie. Do you know what my favorite music video in this movie was?
I'm Car Wash.
Let you guess. Car Wash?
There was a car wash?
No. There wasn't a car wash in this movie.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Was there?
When the teacher went through the car wash?
Oh!
Yeah, Mr. Weaver.
Car wash. Mr. Weaver. Oh,
doing
man,
the dance in front of the Jets.
There's a lot to take in with Mr. Weaver. That could be his own whole episode.
Yes.
That guy was a creep, but got way worse than he really deserved.
Yeah, that guy just kept going, and he never knew why.
I feel like that's actually, if I were to wrap up like what my real problem with the movie is, it's that everyone was awful, but what happened to them was so much worse than what any of them deserved.
Are you gonna wrap it up?
I'm not gonna. No, because unlike the 3 guys in the movie, I know I can't rap.
So,
no, Mr. Weaver got a real raw deal. I mean, he was a creep, very much. I mean, like at one point he pulls a birth control out of someone's purse. And, like, starts showing the classroom the birth control. I was like, dude, that is inappropriate.
A lot of birth control talk in this movie. I feel like they got government money for, like, PSAs in the movie.
I just don't think that's what was happening in Reagan's America.
This is generally a kid's movie. I mean, like, I don't know. How old would we say this movie is aimed at? If she's supposed to be 15, I'm thinking, like,
It's rated PG-13.
PG-13?
Yeah, so it's for a teenager. I mean, I don't know what PG-13 now is different than PG-13 in 1989.
But, like, they full-on boink at one point in the abandoned house. Robin Lively and Brad. And that's not okay because she was using magic to make him like her. I was like...
And he never broke up.
He never broke up with
He was still dating her friend.
That was really where I started getting really uncomfortable, was all of the lack of consent issues.
Right. It felt like Wonder Woman 84. Did you ever see Wonder Woman 84?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We've actually talked about it on the podcast before.
Oh, we did. Yeah, that movie had a big consent problem. And I was like, okay, this guy is under hypnosis or something. This is not okay, what she has done to him. I was like, she needs to go through a program or go to jail.
In any other movie, Robin and Madame Serena would be the villains. Madame Serena would be the witch that is actually a bad witch.
Right, Madame Serena was almost annoyed that Louise had apprehensions.
Yeah.
It's like...
She was literally like, why do you care if they actually like you, if they act like they like you? Why do you care if they're listening to you, if they agree with you? And she's just like, well, because I'm not a sociopath. I'm a awkward 16-year-old girl, and I've done some things that I don't know if I agree with.
Yeah, she was very right.
This is the 20th century. Women have a voice. We do not need to perform magic tricks to be heard anymore.
Well, it's another one of those things where it's like, you flip it around, if it was a guy doing this to her, it's like it wouldn't be ambiguous at all that it was bad.
No, that is exact. I was just like, oh no.
This movie is in a weird state of limbo, because as we talked about, it's PG-13. This movie was originally supposed to be rated R.
Should have been.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a Teen Wolf spin-off that was done in the vein of, like, Porky's. And then the director decided to turn it into, like, a teen PG-13 musical.
Right, the music, because it was very MTV influenced. Oh, I never said what my favorite music video sequence was We Like Boys.
That was my favorite one.
We Like Boys. Have you seen Enchanted?
No, I've never seen Enchanted.
Yes, I have.
There's a scene in Enchanted where they're in Central Park and she starts singing a Disney song and everyone in the park gets wrapped up in it. And he's like, I've never heard this song before. How do you all know this song?
Does everyone know this song?
Did you rehearse this? And that's how I felt with I Like Boys, because
the intro.
She runs in and says, hey, I've got a new cheer for us, and then everyone already knows and does the cheer in a music video.
And can we discuss how that was not a cheer?
No, because it wouldn't have worked outside of that locker room.
No, and it was, what were they cheering? There was no actual cheer.
No, at one point, not at any point did they cheer.
I have a question. Was Louise a cheerleader before she got popular? Because she was in there after school in a leotard with the cheerleaders.
The leotard was also... I wanted to know if that was like a thing in wherever this is. 1980s.
Those were bathing suits, I believe?
Were they?
No.
The purple, right?
Yeah.
The purple... Yeah, those were bathing suits. Because, remember, they got into the fight?
That is true, but they were so dry.
They were bone dry.
I think I'm confusing scenes.
No, you're totally right. They do wear those. You're right. They wear those leotards when she gets pushed into the pool, but I didn't make the connection because I assumed it was...
I thought she was just walking to cheer practice.
Me too.
No, they did not establish that she was a cheerleader before she got popular. It kind of came out of nowhere.
And I think the only time we see them in their cheer uniforms is that scene, the confrontation scene with Polly and Louise.
And that's also like a weird scene continuity-wise, because several scenes before, one of the girls breaks her leg, and in that scene, she's the one calling her over to cheer practice, and I'm like, what happened to your leg?
Louise fixed it. Louise just fixed it after. She broke it, and then she fixed it. That's the only thing she felt bad about in the entire movie.
But she kept the lead role.
But she kept the... Well, I mean, she earned that.
Yeah, I have notes.
Her friend Polly wasn't affected by the magic, but they didn't say why.
I think it's because she actually liked her.
Well, not when she did the when she did the popular girl magic, she wasn't affected by it. But she didn't.
Polly was not, but prior to that, that's why Polly had the confidence to do the rap battle.
I know, but it was weird that Polly was mad at her the whole time, when seemingly there was no reason for her to not be affected by the popularity magic.
Well, it might have been the spell that she cast. She might have wished that everyone who didn't notice her would think she would, you know what I mean, would notice her or something. And since Polly was already her friend or already noticed her, the spell overlooked her because she wasn't part of the wording.
I am going to say, though, that Polly was already on my S list because it's Louise's birthday party. And she calls her from the mall being like, I was just buying your birthday present. The party has already started.
Minus friend points already.
Minus friend points already. I was like,
but
Polly,
she didn't have to say, I'm buying your present. And she could,
She could have just...
She could have made up, right.
She could have done anything else. Also, the fact that
down that way.
I was like, poor Louise. This is the only time I felt bad where I was like, even your best friend, when she is supposed to already be at your house eating cake, is actually at the mall buying you a present. That is how little anyone actually thinks about you.
Oh, maybe Robin Lively was right to be mad at everyone. What'd you think of her little brother?
I loved her little brother.
He was such a weird addition, but he did have some of the funniest lines built around him.
Yes.
I would add him to the list of characters that I can smell through the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whenever someone says they want smell-o-vision, I will forever just point to this movie.
It's like, no, you can smell him. You can smell the disgusting pizza or whatever he was making. Yeah, there was one scene where he was just like making... I don't know what he was cooking. It was very gross.
No, I enjoyed when she turned him into a dog and he was like, Louise, we have to fix this, because it felt like a true sibling relationship. Like, now they're both in trouble.
Mom is going to send me to the pound.
You've done something to me, but we both have to fix whatever this is.
That was weird. Yeah, it was funny. He kind of rolled with it.
He did.
Does her family know?
That was something that, because in Teen Wolf, his dad knows and, tells him about it. I kept waiting for, her dad or her grandmother or someone to be like, hey.
You're a wit. She gets that from Zelda Rubinstein. Seemingly, she's a reincarnation of a previously existing witch. They just keep getting reborn.
In the same familial line,
they get their powers at 16. As do most witches.
I mean, that makes sense.
I was a little concerned.
They don't do a great job explaining to her whole witchiness.
Well, I was also concerned when Madame Serena was like, I'm almost out of magic. And I was like, I'm sorry, magic is a finite resource here, and she's just been stripping her teacher and disappearing handsy boys. No one told her that this is a finite power.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what I took away from the end of the movie, is that Louise realized that she did not want to have power over people like that. So she, in the very last scene, she takes the amulet and she throws it over to Madame Serena. I took that as the amulet is the representation of the magic. So now Madame Serena has her magic back and can go off and be awful and do whatever she wants for the rest of her life. And Louise gained a valuable lesson that she can be herself and, still be the most popular girl.
I feel like once everybody comes off of that magic, she's not going to be so popular anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I just, like... Madame Serena was saving the last of her magic for nuclear winter, and they just kind of glossed over that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, she's a psychopath.
But she loved her friend enough to, doom herself in the event of nuclear winter.
Like,
which we all would do.
So normal in the 80s. It was like,
I mean, everybody was worried about nuclear winter in the 80s. It was a big thing. Reagan was all about it. Yeah, the powers, how their powers work were pretty ill-defined. Because even when they said, like, it was, Madame Serena brings out the last of her powers, and it's like a potion that she has, like, waiting around.
The powder.
It was a powder?
Mm-hmm.
That goes into a potion.
It was mixed into...
Sure. Right. So magical stuff. I wonder if she just, like, dies shortly after that. Like, is it like when a bee mates? It's like, I'm done, and then she goes off and she gets reincarnated.
But that's what I mean about the necklace, is that she's gained... She's gained power back through the necklace. So that's why she's so happy. She's not happy for Louise. She's happy she has the necklace. Because she has power back.
This was her plan all along.
Sure, if you want to go that way. But, remember, throughout the movie, she uses Louise's stronger, younger power
to get her what she wants.
To help her. She's already losing her magic. The money.
No, you're right.
The guy.
Turning the guy from a frog into a person.
So, I mean, it's all kind of a bit convoluted all around.
That goes for sure. I liked this movie. I still liked it. I don't know why I did.
I felt like it was just one awkward encounter after another where I was like, oh, someone wrote this down. Someone thought
because it was...
that this was, like, fun or sexy to have this 15-year-old, 16-year-old do these things. Put all of her chairs in her closet, and that guy didn't just immediately run out the door. Like, he kept coming back.
How many chairs in high school? So there's a scene where she's, like, trying to get with Brad, and he's in her room, and they're going to do a study session, and she's hidden all the chairs in a closet.
And kind of made her room look like the red light district.
Well, the reasoning is because she's trying to cast the spell on Brad, and in order to do that, he has to sit on the bed.
Oh. That makes sense.
Did you not pay attention to any of this movie?
I paid it. I mean,
that was the instructions. He had to sit on the bed while she said the words. So that's why she hid all the chairs, so that he had no choice.
He didn't have to specifically sit on the bed. He just had to sit on the powder.
Every person that came in.
I think he's right. I think he did have to sit on the bed. I just don't think he had to stay on the bed.
No, he didn't have to sit on the bed. He had to sit over the powder, which had to be on the floor, and so she hid it under the bed so he wouldn't see it.
Anyway, Dick Sargent totally ruined her plan there.
I'm pretty sure Madame Serena told her that he had to sit on the bed.
We're gonna have to rewatch.
I'm gonna have to go back because I'm curious.
I'm gonna watch this movie again this weekend.
Well, you guys have fun with that. You fill us in. I will never watch this movie again.
Oh, I've seen it many times, and I plan on watching it many more, so that won't be a problem.
Well, so the real question is, how old will our child be when you allow her to watch it?
Oh, that's a tough one. After our experience with Hocus Pocus, I'm unsure.
What happened with Hocus Pocus?
Oh, this is messed up. This is pretty...
I thought that my biggest problem going into watching Hocus Pocus was explaining what a virgin was.
Oh.
Because that term comes up a lot, and she's 6, and she wonders what words mean. So we get maybe 7 minutes into the movie, the very beginning scene where the 3 witches get hanged. Directly after this scene, she asks me to see the witches. And I didn't understand it first, and after talking with her, it became very clear she wanted to see the full body hanging.
She wanted a new angle so
she wanted the whole angle to see what happened. And I had to explain to her that that just wasn't possible because it wasn't shot. And I'm also not gonna Google it because that's not right. And we couldn't continue watching the movie because she was so hung up on that fact. So, yeah, I don't know.
The next day, I'm talking to her, and I don't know why we're talking about time machines, but I was like, oh, if you had a time machine, what would you want to see? And she goes, I would want to see the witches. I was like, the witches? And she says, I want to see their faces when they got hanged. I was like, oh, what? I was so
He
confused.
had no idea of our conversation.
I didn't know she was talking about Hocus Pocus.
Out of context.
She just meant she wanted to
That is, even in context, but out of context, that is one of the weirder things to hear your kids say,
Yeah, it was like, I had a moment of like, my kid's a psychopath. Like, I was like, I need to take her to therapy. She might want to hurt somebody.
I understand it. It's a curiosity factor because she doesn't fully understand what a hanging means.
Yes.
And I think that's why she was so it stuck so much in her brain. But it was definitely a parental lesson of like I was thinking of the wrong thing.
Yeah.
To be worried about.
We never even got to the point of virginity coming up. She just wanted to know to see their faces.
So yeah, it's I guess it'll be a movie by movie basis as to what
Well, just don't let her see any more executions.
Right.
Well,
that seems
there's
like
no executions in this movie, so
right.
This movie's fine, but they do boink. They full on boink in that abandoned house.
They don't show it.
They don't show it, but they definitely had sex.
Yeah.
They don't show it, but they go hard on, like, this is definitely going to lead to sex, guys.
Also,
the music? I mean, the music is indicative of that.
The sweat and her, like, running her hands under his shirt and the close-ups of that, like, yeah.
It was inappropriate for a 15, because she was 15 when they shot this.
Yes.
And again, he was 25?
Yeah, I mean...
No, this was after her 16th birthday.
The actress?
Was she of the same age?
I think... Well, hold on.
Yeah, she was. She was 16 when they filmed this.
15, I think you said.
No.
Okay.
So, he was an adult man. Not cool. Inappropriate.
And, within the context of the movie, as we've said, Brad was still with Randa. And she might not know how to bleach her roots, but she probably didn't deserve that.
I mean, they still went to the dance together and everything.
Yeah, but then he ditches her halfway through the dance.
That's true.
Yeah. They're at the table talking about how she's telling her friends about how she's going to college close enough to Brad that he's going to visit her on the weekends. And he just walks across the dance and starts making out with another girl.
The reason why the movie ends mid-dance is because we don't see just the utter chaos of the battle. Just
between
Randa flying across and like trying to tear Louise's eyes out. I wouldn't. Like, we gotta cut it here. There's no
power to that. There's. She makes. Was it Randa's cousin? Who was the nerdy guy?
Randa's cousin.
So Randa has a cousin, and she tricks Robin Lively to going on a date with him. And Robin Lively discovers she's a witch when she makes him disappear. You don't see him again.
Ever.
He doesn't show back up. They don't really even mention it.
Brad quickly mentions him, but then they're interrupted by the teacher and the birth control.
But the thing is, Madame Serena did say that her spells weren't strong, so that he would reappear. But Steve's concern is that he's going to reappear in the middle of that street and then immediately get hit by a car.
That was a busy street.
It was a busy street. So, like, I'm not saying that it would work out for him, but I don't think he was, like, forever in the ether. He eventually came
also,
back.
why didn't Louise just drive the car to Madame Serena?
That's how it rides.
Like, why did she drive to get her bike
The trial of Louise Miller.
I mean, she drove well enough to get home. Or to drop off the car. I mean, if she can bike to Madame Serena's, it can't be that much farther.
That's an amazing point that I didn't think about when I was watching that scene.
I said it.
It always made me mad. I'm like, just drive. You have the car.
Steve, I was so just overwhelmed by everything else that had happened that I don't think I heard you say that.
Fair. Yeah. I guess to shift gears, a lot of, like, Easter eggs in this and or ties to other horror movies.
Oh, yeah? I don't think I noticed any.
Well, her dad is Dick Sargent, who was...
Oh, yeah, I noticed
that. Madame Serena, the psychic, was the psychic in the Poltergeist movies.
Please tell me you knew that.
I knew that.
Okay.
I knew that one.
Okay.
What else do we have?
Hold on, we have a few. I just have to remember them. We had the Monster Squad tie-in with Rhonda.
Randa.
Mm-hmm. Random.
You just hate her name.
Rhett the Dancer was in a bunch of, like, Sci-Fi Channel movies. Horror
Yes,
movies.
I had pointed that out to Sam, that he, in particular, had gone on to do other things. We also noticed the stage guy that gives them the passes at the. Can we talk about the concert too?
Oh yeah, with Cindy Valentine, friend of me and Sam.
That's true. We worked with Cindy years and years ago. Yeah, a bunch of times.
Like 4 or 5.
We sent out your mom's house, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Her mom... Well, no, that wasn't her mom's house. That was her... We were at Cindy Valentine's house, and her mom was there visiting, I think, permanently from Italy. But her mom did make us an amazing cup of coffee.
That was such a weird period of time. I was talking at work. I was like, oh, yeah, there's a period of time when I was, like, hanging out with Lisa Loeb and the Village People Cowboy.
Yeah, on a semi-regular basis.
Almost pretty regularly. It's like they were just people we knew from around.
Yeah, when you sent me Cindy Valentine's like IMDb and like her last like 5 projects, and I was like, we worked on like 4 of her last 5 projects.
And then we watched this movie.
Wikipedia.
What was that, Sam?
Yeah, it was. I said it was exciting to find her Wikipedia. I was pretty happy. I was like, oh my god, I worked on all these with her.
Yeah. So, yeah, Cindy Valentine. So they go to this concert, which Polly just goes with the fact that magical stuff is literally happening around her, and she's not going to mention it.
No, everybody kind of gets on board with it pretty quickly.
They just consider it, I guess, a coincidence, but the whole getting backstage is one thing, but like a super, this is supposed to be like a top 40 pop princess, everybody wants to be this girl, and you show up and she just like, how do you not question your friend? How do you not say, how do you know her? How do you, if you notice, in one of the scenes, where Louise is being all melancholy in her room, and there's all the cards from people. One of them is from Shauna.
Yes, it is. But that's post-concert, so she could have gotten it at the concert.
So all of a sudden they're like besties. Like how do you? That right there would be, I feel like, a friendship. Esther, like, how could you not tell me that you were best friends with this huge rock star?
Because, it would have had to have come up at some point in their entire lives. You
would think.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is just dropped on her randomly. Like, we're going to go to a concert, and mid-song, weren't they filming that concert?
They were.
Mid-filming of a concert, she's going to just run off stage at one point and give up the jacket that has been, like, a defining feature of hers since, like, her first album or whatever.
Also...
Good thing that concert was happening when it did.
Yeah. Also,
it just happened to be real.
The
right,
bouncer...
exactly when she...
Go ahead.
Sam said the thing, the concert was rolling through town exactly when it did, exactly when she needed a piece of clothing from that specific person.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it was never clear. Is she supposed to look like Shauna and we just don't see it because she's still played by Robin Lively? Or is she just supposed to have, like, the hair, the makeup, and everything without having to work
I
for
think
it? Because I was
supposed
unclear.
to emulate her. The hair, that is what, the beauty standard is. That is the ultimate of what everyone is trying to look like anyway, so why not go for the top? She could have said she wanted to look like, Randa or Kiki or, whatever. But she chose, seemingly the most popular girl in the world at that time in this world.
Universe. Yeah, but she just didn't seem to look...
Thank you.
She didn't look materially different before versus after. As again...
Seemed like you could have just gone to a stylist. You
yes.
didn't have to cast a man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, everything... She basically went from wearing her mom's clothes to what a contemporary teen at that time would wear. Like, again, a trip to the mall, the hair, all she had to do was, put a little curl in her hair, and that's what she did.
But instead, she committed grand larceny.
Right?
With magic.
She doesn't look that much different than she looked at the school dance earlier when she does it herself.
Yes, that was really where I was like, I don't understand
exactly.
what's happening. But that's the point. Because Madame Serena at the end says, the real magic is just believing in yourself or having confidence in yourself or whatever. So, the magic was within her all along.
Magic is also real magic. She should have started making more money. That's what I would have done. I would have perfected that money spell.
She didn't even try again after that.
Yeah, how did Madame Serena suddenly have tons of money? That was ambiguous to me.
I think that Louise did that for her.
But
yeah,
then she was
Louise made her mansion look nice, but they don't explain it very well. Guys, there's some plot holes in this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
It felt like a bunch of vignettes that they were like, let's just put them all together. It doesn't even matter if it's not actually for the same characters. We're just going to name them all the same and just go with it.
I wonder if this was one of those, like you said, it's supposed to be a spin-off of, like, Teen Wolf. I wonder if it was originally supposed to be a drastically different movie.
Yes.
And then they had to go back and cut the scenes together to make it, something.
Yeah, well...
We need the...
Now, I was wondering, did this have a theatrical release, or was this straight to
VHS?
This had a theatrical release, and it did abysmally. It made $28,000 in theaters with a $2.5 million budget. Oh, sorry, $250 million budget? Sorry, $250. No?
No, I think...
No,
what was the budget on this? Hold on.
That doesn't make sense. That's like a Marvel movie today.
All right, so yeah, it grossed worldwide just under 28,000, and it made, I've got the numbers right here, box off. It was $2.5 million, and it made $27,843.
That seems That seems almost impossible. It must have opened up against the. I mean. Unfathomable.
It opened up against Pet Sematary and Field of Dreams.
Oh, come on.
Even still, I mean, like, this isn't the same demographic. Because it's not like teenage girls were going to go see Pet Sematary or Field of Dreams.
Hey, Sam, you don't know about those teenage girls in the 80s?
They love Pet Sematary.
And they love baseball.
Saw that at too young of an age.
Not in theaters.
No.
So,
did you want to talk about the car wash scene, Sam?
The car wash scene? That man should have died in that car wash. But it looked like fun. I liked how much fun Professor Weaver had making this movie. You could tell he was having a good time.
Yes, he thoroughly was enjoying his job on set. That is one of the scenes that lives rent-free in my mind since I was a child.
Car wash scene?
car wash scene and like the weird scene before that. His whole thing where she makes him like strip during class.
The voodoo doll.
Yeah, that, the car wash, the whole thing. I was like, oh my god.
I was glad to learn that that man lived to be like 94 years old. Like, that's nice.
But also, like, Sam was, and I was too. How did he not get fired after flashing the entire class?
Because it was 1989.
That's true. That's true.
What if it's like
they were a wild time.
Like if he said he was having a mental breakdown and they legally couldn't fire him or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, as they were escorting him out of the school, he literally jumped down the stairs. So I think that in itself was sort of like, okay, you take the rest that you need.
They shouldn't have let him work at the prom, though.
No.
Yeah, that's the first scene. Then there's the cabin scene where they totally have sex. Weirdly lived. I was like, what was I watching as a child? And then the third scene was the biggest scene. It was when Kiki breaks her leg, and Polly's like, "What'd you do, tripper?" And that scene has like just lived in my head forever.
Literally, we got to the auditions for the play, and they say Kiki is going to be like the lead role, and Steve turned to me and was like, "This is the movie. It's someone's gonna say to Louise, 'Great job, Louise. What'd you do, tripper?'" And then 40 minutes later, there we were.
It was very cathartic.
She was being very unfair. Because Louise wasn't even like near her at the time. She clearly just tripped on that ladder. I don't even think that was magic. I think that was just a coincidence.
I think Louise definitely distracted her.
Kind of coincidental.
Like, I don't think Louise meant to do it, but she definitely called out to her again. And she said, like, don't go break a leg like 3 times.
No.
And I don't think she meant to, but it was definitely like...
No, it wasn't.
And she said it. She went over and immediately was like, I didn't mean it.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly you didn't, but...
Well, I mean, it's like when she wished away the nerdy guy. She needs to get control of her powers, because she is...
Or turned her brother into a dog.
Or she turned her brother into a dog.
Still
She's a dangerous person.
I like it when her brother became like a little mini butler.
How did that happen? It was because...
I don't know.
I think he got hit by the spell.
Yeah, I agree, because even after he got turned into a dog, he was still like a turd.
Yeah.
Because after the dog, but before he does that, he's the one that kicks Mr. Weaver down the stairs.
Oh,
the doll.
Oh, it was just the doll. He didn't know.
Right, but my point is he's still a turd little brother that doesn't care about his sister's stuff. And then all of a sudden he shows up
into a dog.
And I took the liberty of ironing your homework.
Yeah, that was a weird line. But I definitely like the mom being like, Richie is clean. The house is clean. He cleaned and organized the fridge shelves. He's on drugs, isn't he? And like Dick Sargent's reaction was just perfect. I was just like, this is like the scene in the movie that I would watch 100 times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the yes dear, yes dear, yes. Oh wait, what'd you just say?
Exactly. Steve, you had some thoughts about Dick Sargent and Kitten.
Oh.
I think I know what you're gonna say. I just wanna.
Well, Dick Sargent calls her Kitten throughout the movie, which, besides just being weird, in Teen Titans, Killer Moth calls his daughter Kitten, and that's just all I could. It's all I could hear every time he said it.
You were like, "It's incredibly inappropriate," and also Killer Moth.
I think they were weirdly trying to go back to that, trying to establish that her family or her family life is still stuck, in the olden times. Her dad still calls her Kitten, they did in like the 1950s. Her mom is the classic stay-at-home mom. I kept commenting, part of probably what drew me to this movie a lot was Louise's bedroom. Because that would be my dream bedroom as a child. Like the 4-poster bed with like the Laura Ashley wallpaper. And just the whole house having that like super 80s vibe along with the rest of the movie.
One of my notes is this movie is so big the 80s. Yeah, I mean, it was a journey. It didn't age well.
No, I don't think I wouldn't put this up as a kid's movie. I wouldn't show it to a kid today.
Yeah.
I think it's a great little nostalgia piece for millennials and Gen Xers. But really, it's not just the fact that like really is she committed some sexual assault.
A lot of sexual.
Show Ivy as she's a teenager as a like this is not how you should act, or you know this is not what you should do, or you know I mean it's. I feel like by that time, the reaction is just going to be very visceral of like, oh my God, what is this? Sort of like, your reaction of just like, what am I even watching? How is this possible?
I feel like you could have recut this movie into like an after-school special cautionary tale.
Oh, sure. I would watch that.
How not to be a witch?
I just like... It's like, look, none of this works out for her. Look, it's like drugs. Like, it just, like... It seemed to try to go to the cool way, but it seems like it could have easily, like, gone another way for the time period.
Man, Serena's your dealer.
Maybe we just stumbled upon what the movie really is.
Propaganda.
It's a dare movie. It's like, it's from Reagan's War on Drugs.
It is anti-drug. The weird, creepy cousin does ask her if she wants to go smoke some weed with him.
You want to go smoke some weed? The way he says it, too.
That's why I said earlier, I was like, it had a feeling like they were getting, like, that government money for doing, like, an anti-drug PSA episode.
Right, there was no drinking, no smoking, no drugs. Like, this was as vanilla as you could get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Kai will ever even want to watch this movie, but...
I will watch this movie again. I got a kick out of it. But no, I'm not going to show my kid.
No, maybe in 10 years we have to get together and force them to watch the first 5 minutes.
I don't think Petra's going to want to do that.
I will let him watch the I Like Boys scene just to be like, this is like a fever dream of what the 80s was.
Yes.
This is what old men in the 80s thought the 80s was.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell Ivy I'm gonna tell Ivy that's a Banana Grandma music video.
Oh, I love it. Now, I feel like that's actually how I felt about the entire movie, though, that it felt very much like this is what studio execs thought was cool for the kids.
Yes.
Like, Steve was
absolutely.
Like, the rap battle kids, what did you call them? You thought that they looked like, you had a name for them. Where they were into, like, bebop or whatever? Not bebop.
Oh, they looked like greasers who had given up, like, doo-wop and gotten into, like, the Get Down.
Yes. And it's a perfect description because they look like, a lot of the characters looked like fashion from like the 1950s, but they're gonna make him sound like they're from the 80s and do 80s things. And I just was like, that's a perfect description too. It's a Doublemint commercial and...
Yeah, it's a Doublemint commercial with greasers who have updated for the 80s.
But, Robin Lively is Blake Lively's older sister.
I did not know that.
Wow.
And
I heard that through the grapevine somewhere.
I had no idea about that. And I had no idea, like, the family dynasty. Like, her brothers Eric and Jason are both from... like, Jason Lively was Rusty in National Lampoon's European Vacation. He was in Night of the Creeps. He was in
no way!
Yeah, like, he was, like, really big in the 80s and early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, so he did like Brainchild, he did a bunch of like Rock and Roll High School Forever. And then her other brother, Eric, Sam, so weird that show we watched about the tour bus mystery solvers.
Oh, my niece loved that show.
The cousin, like the cool hippie cousin or whoever that travels. Yeah, that's their brother.
Yeah, I'm looking on IMDb now, and here are Robin Lively and Blake Lively.
Yeah, and that's Jason Lively from So Weird.
And to Robin Lively's credit, she looks amazing.
She does.
She does, yeah.
Her little brother Richie looks exactly like what you'd expect him to turn into.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, blew my mind. She was also Jessica in The Karate Kid Part 3, which I did not realize.
Yes, she was. I think I still have to get Sam.
Yeah, I've only seen the first two. And
Me too.
I was supposed to go.
She was in an episode of The X-Files.
Yeah, they've all had, like, weird careers. It's funny, because they have another sister who, if you look at her IMDb, is just, hey, one of my more famous siblings is doing a movie and got me a part in it. I feel like this is a good place to cut it, because, honestly, there are things in this movie that I could harp on for literal hours. But,
sure.
But I feel like we've kind of summed it up to the best of our ability. It's a whole lot of things, and yet it is, at the same time, a nothing movie where there is no plot and nothing actually happens, but so much weird shit happens.
Right. It is an entertaining watch, but not much substance. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's like your grandmother is telling you, like, let me tell you about the weirdest month of my life when I was a teenager.
I would, you know what I would pay for? I would pay for this movie to be remade, but from the viewpoint of someone like Kiki.
Well, that's what I was saying. Randa, from her point of view.
This is the worst month of her entire life.
Yeah, these people are the villains.
Louise is the villain.
It's funny because I feel like that also sort of mirrors Sam's podcast, where you have the three women who find themselves in a situation, and all of a sudden they're doing things completely out of their character, and they have no idea why.
Yes. What would that podcast be?
A feminist romance novel podcast.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Let's plug that right now.
Episode 3 out soon.
Well, by this time this airs, it'll be episode 4.
Okay, episode 4 out soon.
Thank you, wife. My wife is plugging my other show. That's very nice.
Good.
My dog is eating my leg.
Yeah, we've spent this entire time both trying to get Olive not to eat things.
It has not worked.
So, who knows what she's going to poop tomorrow. Yeah, you know.
Where can they find us, Sam?
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at RTSpiritsPod. Follow us. On some of our other episodes, we do a lot of fun with some AI generation. So check out our Instagram. You can see all that and follow us. My dog is eating my sock, like on my foot.
Well, if Sam's here in 2 weeks,
thank you.
He hasn't been consumed by his dog.
We'll be back. Otherwise, I'll put up a quick note that Sam was devoured. All right, thanks for joining us. I'm Steve.
I'm Sam.
I'm Cait.
I'm Petra.
Thank you for joining us.